Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. This is going to be a birthday message for the sign of Aries. What is going on, Aries? How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. All right, Aries, welcome to your birthday reading. Happy birthday to you. Whenever you guys do celebrate your special day, I hope it is an amazing time. If you're able to get together with friends and family, please be safe. Make good choices. We're still, dealing with this, tricky situation called a pandemic. But if you are celebrating, again, I hope you have a great time. Surrounded by people who know and love you, and it's just a great time for everybody involved. Quick apologies here at the top of the video. I was like scatterbrained for like 2 weeks up until today, because today's March 23rd, right? That's when this will be edited and posted within the later evening where I live. So it might be the 24th by the time that you see this, or sometime later. But anyway, I need to apologize to you guys because I was really believing and somehow got it convinced. I was convinced in my head that your season started on the 23rd. It starts on the 21st. So I apologize to any Aries who was born on March 21st or March 22nd. I like to get these out the day of. I think it's like a nice, kind of ceremonial thing. So apologies to anyone who was born on the 21st or the 22nd, who you were like, I think my birthday reading is a little late. It was. I'm sorry. Anyway, guys, this format is new. If you've been with the channel for a while and you've seen my birthday readings that I've done for you guys over the past couple of years, you'll see that this is a little bit new. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Kipper deck, and we're going to talk about four. No, why did I say that? I can count, I swear to God. 5 different areas of your life with a different focus, again, that's centralized through the Kipper deck. We'll clarify using 3 separate tarot decks, and at the top row you're going to have you're going to have cards that pertain to your mental body at this time, your physical or your health at this time, physical body or your health, and then over here your spiritual body at this time. What are the central focuses of those 3 areas? Down in this bottom left hand corner, we're going to talk a little bit about your life purpose, your spiritual purpose at this time. What is the central focus of it? Not what it is, but what is the central focus of it? And then down in this bottom right hand corner, what is the central focus of any soul tie relationship that you have of any type? Okay, so we're going to start it off with, again, the mental body. At this time during Aries birthday season, at the end of March going into towards the end of April, what is the central focus of your mental body according to the Kipper deck? Message, card number 7, so the numerology might mean something to you guys. Message. I feel in general you guys want good communication. If you are waiting on a particular message, a particular outcome, it feels like, or news about something, you want it to go in your favor. Clearly, you don't want to hear bad news. Who really wants to hear bad news? So some of you are waiting on, I'm getting this sense of like authority, like you're waiting to be authorized to do something, to purchase something, to move ahead with a project, to go forward with a certain relationship, a certain connection that you have. So you're just waiting for good, auspicious, affirmative news in some form or fashion. Some of you could be communicating back and forth. So you could be, the phrase that they just gave me is building a story. Some of you could be building a story, like maybe you're co-writing a novel or something like that. And so you're going back and forth with your writing partner, something like that. But, that might not play for everybody. So let's see what else we can get. Let's clarify with the tarot, please. All right. For Aries, why is message going to be the central focus of their mental body during their birthday season for Aries? All right. See what they say with the tarot for you guys. Message as the central focus of the mental body at this time. As message the central focus of the mental body at this time. Okay. King of Cups in reverse. Oh, and the Queen of Cups sort of in a cross, but I don't usually read cross. But we'll leave her in the side position for now. So but they're kind of crossing each other. So, and the first card to come out was the Prince of Wands. So lots of people here. Prince of Wands, fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. King and Queen of Cups Water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, right? You could be dealing with any of the signs I mentioned or none at all. It is a general collective reading for your birthday season, Aries. So for some of you, this is like dealing with people that you know very intimately, family, friends, something like that. Maybe for a few of you, people that you work with. Some of you, this could extend into your dating life, but because there's so many people, like unless you're into poly or something like that, which, you know, no shame in that. Do as long as as everyone consents, right? But I feel as though this is an intimate connection between people who have a long history, so friends and family, yes. And for some of you, you could be involved in this cross energy. I'm sensing for some, it's a fight between two adults and a younger person. Prince of Wands, aka Knight of Wands, could be witnessing this argument. Could be with their own eyes seeing this relationship over here fall to pieces, or if not fall to pieces, let me rephrase. Go through a difficult moment at this time. This could be, you know, simply a misunderstanding. It could go as far as into like a complete shouting match. Another thing that I'm getting is possibly because she crosses the king, who's in reverse anyway. So for some of you, Aries, there's a woman. Well, I shouldn't say a woman. It's very general. So a feminine person. They could be male or any other gender, but, you know, they come across with high feminine energy, but they do not have to be a woman. And again, they don't even have to be a water sign. But someone who's represented by this energy, the Queen of Cups, or excuse me, the card Queen of Cups, I feel as though they kind of act as a gatekeeper to the King of Cups. And the Prince of Wands, Wands is about desire. Wands is about action. Wands is about, you know, kind of seeking, and princes, excuse me, knights are about seeking. So there's this desire and drive to possibly seek the King of Cups, but someone stands in the way. Someone is a barrier to that Queen of Cups. So again, this could be like a family situation. And, you know, if I'm perfectly honest, like what I'm seeing and feeling is, you know, not in many of your cases, maybe only in one or two of your cases. And again, you have my sympathies and condolences if it ever came to this. What I'm sensing is possibly like someone who's not doing too well in terms of their own health and wellness, the King of Cups in reverse, somebody who's either in a dark place or an unhealthy place, or they're simply not able to talk on their own for whatever reason. And there could be someone who wants to maybe go to the hospital and visit, but there is someone who says, no, you can't visit. Now, again, we're still dealing a little bit with this pandemic. Well, a good bit, not a little bit, a good bit still dealing with COVID-19, right? So it could be just the protocol of hospital visitation that prevents the Prince of Wands getting into contact with the King of Cups. Or it is, again, like a family member, someone who believes they're doing what's best for the King of Cups and says, no, you can't visit. No, you can't speak to this person. No, I'm not going to get a message to them or you. You know, it's like in some cases, the Queen of Cups is very much a no energy, Aries. They're not interested in appeasing the Prince of Wands. They're not interested in carrying a message. And, you know, the dreariest image that I'm getting, and again, I hope it's not any of your cases, but if it's one or two of you, I feel this is something that you might deal with or have dealt with, you know, and it might be weighing on your mind. You know, again, this is your mental body. The actions or the story that I'm talking about doesn't have to necessarily happen during your birthday season in 2021. Again, it's your mental body. You could be reflecting on this. But what I'm seeing for maybe one of you is that possibly on a deathbed situation, we have a King of Cups energy, older masculine figure. So it could be a father or a grandfather. But again, the gender doesn't have to be that, because again, we all carry masculine and feminine energies within us. And there are many women who present strong masculine energy, okay? But there's somebody who possibly, while they were on a decline, while they were lying in hospice or hospital and, you know, were about to die or pass away, there was this last wish for someone else in the family to connect with this person, and they were not permitted to connect with them. Now, okay, duh. I'm like, why is this such a resonant message? Okay, so again, I've mentioned it a few times, and it's not really science. It's just, it's clicking in my mind right now. That was the reality for millions of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people across the world, if not millions, where they had a loved one who they couldn't see in their last hour because of this pandemic. Okay? So that could be weighing heavily on your mind right now, Aries, some of you. Again, my condolences and my sympathies for that. I'm not sure what you're meant to do with that. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, because we have heavy water energy here between the King and the Queen of Cups, there's emotional baggage. I shouldn't even call it baggage, but there's interesting word. I'll go with it. I kind of get the concept. Instead of baggage, let's say emotional pressure that needs to be released here, Aries. For some of you, this was bad blood. This was or is a disagreement amongst family members, amongst friends, and someone, like I said before, is crossing and saying, no, there's no communication between you and them, or no, I'm not going to deliver messages, or, blah, 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 blah. Or it was just like I said, about oh my God, I can't even talk. A moment ago, like I said, revolving around COVID, where some people, because of the safety and the regulations or whatever that the hospital and other health organizations decreed, there is no visitation because at that time, and possibly up until this moment for some of you, it was just too risky in terms of, infection, and that is a deep, like I said, it's like emotional pressure. I feel you, Aries, or someone that you're close proximity with, because again, with these three characters, I feel this is family and friends, people that you know intimately. So if it's not you experiencing this could be a cousin or a brother or a very close friend. And it needs to be excised. I feel there might be some benefit with the message card back there, the Kipper card that says message. Maybe there's some benefit into writing it out, journaling, possibly getting, possibly doing a burn ceremony. If you write it down on a piece of paper and then excise it from your life, burn it away, whatever you do or don't do in your practice, I feel that could benefit a few of you, not everybody, because clearly some of you are like, what the hell is that? But okay, so that's not for everybody, this darker thing. And again, it doesn't have to be COVID or anything recent as of, 2020 until now. This could have been 1974. Who knows? I have no idea. Time is very fluid. And again, this is your mental body. When and where and why we begin to reflect on certain things or reflect on things that we've experienced is, it's more for you to figure out than for me. But I think your intention, I feel you're mostly here, Aries. Some of you, you're the Queen of Cups, gotta be honest. Some of you, you might even be the King of Cups. And the King of Cups doesn't have to be poor health entirely. King of Cups could be, just out to lunch, simply not in the mood to communicate, or doesn't know what to say. When the King of Cups is in reverse, to me, it's a very sullen energy. It can be depressed. It can be somebody who's a little ornery. There's another side of that, because if the King of Cups is in reverse, the emotions are much more volatile, and the emotions lead the person, not the person is leading the emotions or has a reign on them, right? The emotions and the feelings and the thoughts and the anger and the frustration or the happiness and the joy, whatever, it can run amok, yes? So somebody could be very negative, in a very negative space right now, and the Queen of Cups could be doing damage control. Like, now's not a good time to approach the King of Cups. This person is just not approachable. They're not at all civil, possibly. So the best bet is that nothing were to be, in terms of communication, in terms of messages, nothing should exchange hands, or nothing should be exchanged at this time. Could be a gag order, because that's, again, I don't usually read cross positions. but that could also be what's going on. Prince of Wands could be expecting a message, could be expecting to hear from someone, and there is a gag order placed by, again, a third party, so to speak. Not to say this is about a third party situation, but like literally there could be like a judgment call. There could be official, because again, with messages on the Kipper deck, it could come official like documentation in the mail, like cease and desist orders. You get what I mean? So there's a lot of things that can be, pulled out of this combination of cards. Hopefully, Leo, excuse me, not Leo, Aries. Now that I had a slip of a tongue, and I knew that. That's why I had to move this. And so you see on his little shield there is a lion on his shield, right? So maybe some of you are dealing with a Leo, or you have Leo placements in your chart, okay? So that might be significant for one or two of you, that slip of the tongue that I just had there. So that is going to be the central focus. It doesn't have to be. Again, this is a general reading. Take it all with a grain of salt. If it resonates, cool. If it doesn't, that's all right too. So that's the central focus of your mental body at this time during your birthday season, Aries. We'll move on now to your physical body well, I guess it's all the same. Your physical body and your health and your wellness. Okay, so what is the central focus of that at this time? Message of concern. A little bit of a theme, huh? And that was card 7, right? Oh, let me bring that down because you can't really see it. Okay, so that's card 7, and this is now card 14, so we've doubled. That might be significant to you, the doubling of something, increasing in number, increasing in frequency, increasing in worth, something like that might be important to you. But in terms of your physical body, message of concern. So on its face, some of you might be receiving news about your health and your wellness. Message of concern, the woman on the card has her hand over her heart, so she's likely in shock about something. Aries, it doesn't feel too great. I mean, some of you, it might be good news. I don't want to make it doom and gloom for everybody because that's simply not statistically possible. Or likely, I should say. It's statistically not likely that every person who watches this video is going to experience some type of bad news centering around physical health and wellness, right? But some of you will. And could be your own health and wellness, to tie it right back into what we were talking about over there with the mental body. It could be the physical wellness of another person. I get the sense that because this deck is Victorian, this Kipper deck, it's basically in like the Victorian age, which was one of, in terms of middle class families, it was generally prosperous at that time, Victorian era, England and Europe, right? And so what I'm seeing here is a person, based on how she's dressed, based on the room that she's in, there is a chance that some of you come from a socioeconomic standing where you've got money. Not to say you're rich or anything like that, but you have the means monetarily to take care of a lot of life's problems, right? And they're giving me this feeling of money won't solve this, or money can't help this, or money is only one part of the issue or one part of what is necessary, something like that. So the tangible resources that you have at your disposal, Aries, might not be enough, might not factor in at all in terms of what concerns you, what message you're getting that for some of you, it's really going to knock you off your feet. And, for some of you, hopefully it's good news, but I got to tell you, many of you, it's not news you want to hear. It's not something that you want to deal with, frankly. So let's get more on this for Aries. Wise message of concern, the central card, the anchor card for their physical body, health and wellness during their season, please. Thank you. 7 of Cups. Okay. Yes. Okay. It kind of landed in a cross, but I don't know. They're like, no, it's not cross. It's not side position. So first card was the Seven of Cups. Then you had the Prince of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, could be dealing, but you don't have to be. And then the Star card. For some of you, you might be receiving news about an ex. They don't have to be an earth sign. They don't have to be a male. But for some of you, I'm getting like you used to know this person intimately. Used to know this person, and you used to possibly share a life with them, right? And, you know, something has happened in their life. Something has transpired for them, or this is happening to you. Take it with a grain of salt, of course. And it's not good news. I don't feel it's terrible news, but I think it, like, again, it's like this feeling of being knocked off your socks, or whatever the phrasing is. Like, you know, just the wind out of your sails kind of feeling. Takes your breath away. You get what I mean? Like, stunning news, stunning messages about someone from your past, some of you from the past. Doesn't have to be. Others of you, it could be a younger brother. Knight, again, is Prince, but the same difference, Knight of Pentacles. So for some of you, that could be a younger brother, or just a younger masculine energy. They don't have to be male, but I feel really empty if I had to be honest with you. Like, suddenly a lot of my energy, my concentration kind of just drained out of me. It was like I don't want to say it was out of body experience, but I guess it was a sensation that was similar to that, Aries. You know, so this could be, again, because this is physical body, health, and wellness. This could be a diagnosis that doesn't sound too good. But I'm not a medical doctor, so don't listen to me. All right, I'm only giving you the sensation of what I'm feeling, and I'm interpreting the energy that's coming through. So I'm feeling that someone might receive news, either news about themselves or news about a person, whoever that person is, male or female, earth sign or not, younger, older, does not matter. And the initial feeling is, oh no, whatever can I do, whatever, you know, there's no options, or there's possibly, because the traditional understanding of the Seven of Cups in tarot is having many options and kind of feeling overwhelmed. Yes, but it's usually interpreted, or one of the feelings that usually comes across in the Seven of Cups is this feeling of being inept, incapable of doing something in a helpful, constructive manner. Too many choices, can't decide, or all the choices look like crappy choices. It's not anything you want to hear or somebody else wants to hear. And so it's like, you know, choosing between, you know, the lesser of two or seven evils, basically. Like this, it's this feeling of, like frustration and sadness and all this stuff, you know? Now, again, not a medical doctor. Do not take my advice, or do not take this on board too heavily. I feel as though that could be an initial reaction, possibly. I'm not trying to minimize how you or anyone else feels, Aries. It possibly is an exaggerated or a hyperbolic response to the news that you get, or you receive, or you hear that somebody else received, because the Star often can represent some type of hope, and of course talks about healing. Okay, so there is a chance, if this is a medical diagnosis, right, there's a chance that even though it sounds bad, there are some workable options that you or someone else might not be overly enthralled with, but actually might do the trick. Now, again, not a medical doctor, have no idea what this could even be. But there is sort of this feeling of don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because with the Prince of Pentacles in the center there, Pentacles, Knights, they're dutiful, right? Learned energy, persistent energy. So this could be a not great diagnosis. And if it's not about a diagnosis, it's just how someone feels about their life. Maybe the message of concern isn't, something that says, oh, you have a terminal disease. It doesn't have to be that. It could be simply you got high cholesterol. I mean, I'm not trying to simplify it or say high cholesterol, oh, nobody cares about that. Yes, that's something that needs to be, that is a medical condition of concern, but it's workable, right? Eat a bunch of Cheerios, get some healthy fats in your diet, things like this. It's something that can be controlled or maintained, right? And changed over time with intervention with diet and exercise and all that good stuff. Yes. So that's what I mean, is that for some of you, it's not anything tragic or terminal. It's not anything that you should despair over, but the initial news is received that way. Do you understand? Now, again, Knight of Pentacles in the center alongside the star and also with the Seven of Cups would be practical about the choices. Whoever this is, it could be you, Aries. There could be someone else around you who's kind of going through the motions or having just a teensy weensy bit of the hysterics, and you could be the sensible person who's just like, okay, let's put this in proper perspective, because that's what the Knight of Pentacles would do. Is there's no reason to be down on the ground, kind of saying, woe is me or all is lost. Prince of Pentacles says, all right, how can we go about this the right way? What are the actual solutions, or what are the options, that are most likely a solution or the most plausible that we could go for? Yes, the star, healing energy, but also is a guided energy. She's out here in the dead of night, naked, just chilling with her flamingo, but traversing in this darkness is not a daunting task, because there's a very bright star in the sky that will light her path. And if you can see, there's a line that goes from the star down to the horizon across the water there. So there's a sort of knowing or a certain path, or there's a certain choice, is what it sounds like, a certain choice that you or someone else has to make that can be sort of just what the doctor ordered. Sorry for the medical pun and sorry for the puns or cliches in general, but that's kind of what this feels like. So not all is lost here, Aries, for you or for somebody else regarding their physical body, their health and wellness. So we're going to move on now from that slight theme we've got going so far, but we'll see if it continues. So this is going to be the central focus of your spiritual body at this time during your birthday season in 2021. Again, what is the anchor energy? What is the focal point? We have high honor. Okay. 2 and 5, add that together. That's a 7. So 7s are big. I mean, if you really wanted to, well, not that you wanted to, but a lot of this is derivative, central or focused around 7s. And then also, I didn't mention it before, 14, add the 1 in the 4, that's a 5. So 7s and 5s. 5s challenges, 7s growth, lessons, choice, really making investments in your path is kind of how I'm interpreting that right at this moment. So anyway, high honor. For some of you, military background plays a factor in your storyline or plays a factor in your spiritual path. Some of you might be adjacent to the military, so you might work for a government or something like that. Or, I'm not an aficionado or anything like that, but because this is a dated deck, the Kipper deck, again, it depicts, thank you, can't talk today. It depicts Victorian era. So for some of you, maybe in a past life, you used to be a military person, or you were a military person, I should say. High honor, though. I'm getting the sense that you want to do it right, spiritually speaking, Aries. I feel some of you, going back here, maybe want to make amends for wrongdoing or things that weren't necessarily your best judgment or your best hour is kind of what this feels like. Like some of you might have something to atone for, something to seek redemption over, or you're dealing with someone who's in that headspace, in that spiritual space. Yes. Going back to this again, I felt it was like a family situation, and I felt it possibly was an older member of the family who was passing away, and possibly you couldn't make amends with that person before they left this earth. Yes. And that could be, spiritually something that concerns you. High honor. Others of you, this is just generally about doing a good job, staying on point, staying on practice with your spiritual life. Okay? Some of you, high honor. You haven't honored yourself spiritually at all. Some of you have abandoned yourself spiritually, is what they're telling me. Abandoned yourself spiritually, meaning for some of you, maybe you just weren't awakened to a certain factoid or element about your spiritual life. You may have been, for lack of a better word, ignorant to something, uninformed about something. I'm not sure. All right, so let's get some further detail on high honor in regard to Aries' spiritual body at this time. Why is high honor here? Show me for Aries. A bridge? They want a bridge. Okay. Last one. Okay. Thank you. Guess they wanted a refresh in your energy, huh? All right. So why is high honor the central focus of Aries' spiritual body at this time? Please show me. All right. Wow. A little heavy with the messaging there. One more. Some of you might benefit from a past life regression. I don't do that. I'm not at all equipped to do that. But there are some people out in this world who can. If you don't know what that is, research it, see if you're into it. If not, or excuse me, if you think you, if you already know, seek someone for it. But they're giving me this idea of exploring past lives. That's very beneficial for some of you. Why is high honor the central focus of Aries' spiritual, spiritual body at this time? This one. All right. That was interesting how they stopped the deck like that. All right, so first card was Death. Major Arcana for Scorpio. Could be dealing, but you don't have to be. Second, this was on the bottom of the deck when I picked it up. My eye saw that. Eight of Swords, and then the Empress. Secondary major for Libra and Taurus. You may be dealing with any of those signs or not at all. Yeah. So for some of you, and they told me while I was shuffling, so I'm just going to run with that real quick. Some of you in either this life, you know someone, because clearly if you're watching this, it's not you. So you either know someone in this life, or you knew someone from a past life who died in battle. Like legit on the battlefield. Like it's one of those it's one of those scenes where like in a heavy firefight. Not like in an airstrike, not like in, one side was unaware and then there was just like an attack, a siege or something like that. No, like literally guns and ammo flying across a battlefield, and both sides are losing men, losing troops or whatever. And this happened to someone you're related to, or a friend or someone like that they died and the battle was going on, and they, and this is very gruesome, but for some it was like a bleeding out because they couldn't be rescued, they couldn't be attended to, and so they died of their injuries, which may or may not, it feels like possibly survival could have happened if they could have been retrieved from the battlefield. That's very specific. Okay, so that's what was in my head while we were shuffling. Now, what has come out? Death, Eight of Swords, and the Empress. I feel some of you have an issue of recognition related to a mother or a mother figure, possibly for those who are interested in this particular avenue, possibly divine feminine aspects of yourself or other people. Okay, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not talking specifically about twin flames. I'm talking about the principles or the dynamics of divine femininity that exist in other people or within yourself. Okay, and there's a issue, there's a friction here regarding that. This Empress is striking me as very powerful as an individual, or again, an archetype, attributes that exist within you or others, right? It doesn't have to be a physical person or one physical person. It could be, again, energetic markers, attributes. And it's very strong. It's very capable. It's very willful, possibly defiant, or at least it could be perceived as defiant. The person, the personality traits, something like that. And it's because very interesting, Aries. This is kind of a deep one, but it's your spiritual, again, this is your spiritual body. This is, so that kind of makes sense. So in terms of what you may or may not believe philosophically, what you may or may not believe in terms of good life practices, what you may or may not believe about your own creation or the creation of, this time, space, whatever. I feel as though the Empress energy, whoever it is, whatever it is, feels, I must protect myself. No one else will protect me. I must protect what I've created or what I choose or what I intend to create. No one else is going to protect me. There's sort of like a, trickling back to the Eight of Swords, there's sort of like a, look at that. As soon as I open that up, there's sort of like this betrayal energy coming through. And I was like, where's that coming from? And then I opened the cards more and just look at the imagery that's on the Eight of Swords, Aries. You've got the woman who's kind of, standing and she's facing us. And the man, presumably feminine and masculine traits or, markered people, the man seems to walk away while the woman stays behind. Now, Eight of Swords is not traditionally about betrayal. It's about restriction or limitation or perceptions of that. Yes? I feel it's a little bit of a struggle because the Empress, that high feminine or divine feminine energy, is sort of sour grapes, is what this feels like. I'm not trying to call you that or call anybody that that. I'm not trying to insult anybody. But there is, if you believe, well, you don't have to believe what I believe. But in general, divine feminine, like anything else, well, not like anything else, I shouldn't say that. It's infinite, these aspects. This part of the polarity between masculine and feminine. It's infinite. It goes on and on and on. Or if you see, well, I don't have it here. I don't have a deck nearby with it. But an 8, a figure 8, or an infinity symbol. It loops on and on and on forever and ever. It does not stop. So think of it this way. This energy that you carry, that someone around you carries, has done this thing so many times before. The divine feminine has done this so many times before. Over lifetimes, over eons, over centuries and millennia. Yes? And there's a sort of like, I'm tired, bittersweet, or sour grapes. No longer wanting to be stuck in that cycle of being neglected, being abandoned, because again, the masculine energy, or the male I shouldn't say the masculine energy, the male in the card walks away. And the female is left standing there dealing with whatever's left behind. So there's this issue for many of you of abandonment surrounding feminine energies and or how should I say it? The feminine energies that you carry or someone else carries feels abandoned, and therefore no longer, and it's happened over and over across the infinity, oh my God, I can't even talk, across infinity, thank you. And now there's I don't want that again feeling, death card. I don't want that again. Transformative energy, death. Okay. Came back to the battlefield. And this whole time I've been talking, I totally didn't remember that. But remember what I said here about dying in the battlefield. Left literally on the ground, bleeding out. To an extent, that can be perceived from anyone in the situation, whether it be, someone on either side, whether it be the person who was dying on the ground, whether it be the family back home, whether it be, someone reading a newspaper about what's going on in this conflict. At all points, that can be perceived as an abandonment, as being abandoned, left for dead. Do you get what I mean? So that's a huge thing in this area. And the idea of high honor, I don't know what you read or understand or even question or are curious about in terms of the dynamic of masculine and feminine, but there is this idea of honoring the other. Without one, you cannot exist. Therefore, you must honor it. Yes? Without the masculine, there's no feminine. Without the feminine, there's no masculine. So we must honor both sides, the polarities. Give honor to it. If you don't, if you abandon it, or whatever you've done is perceived and received as abandonment, then that causes who has shown up, the more feminine energy, to become, for all intents and purposes, more masculine. So the long and the short of this, and I apologize because I'm sure that was very convoluted. It wasn't the clearest message, I'm pretty sure. But the long and the short of it is, there's a wounding many of you have in yourselves or in the people around you revolving around feminine, and how the feminine feels honored by the masculine, who is absent on the table, by the way. I didn't design this reading or this portion of the reading to be about the polarities between masculine and feminine, but it has come through. And maybe a little bit even with the artistry, or the imagery, I should say, because we do, again, have the Empress, who can be the archetype for divine feminine in the tarot. And then in the Kipper deck, we have this card, the High Honor card, which traditionally, up until, the 20th century, many armed forces across the world, not everywhere, but many, were exclusively for men or masculine energy, what could be perceived as masculine people. Again, not all men are masculine through and through. Many have high feminine qualities to them. And in fact, going back to just what I said, maybe, like I said, the person who experienced dying on the battlefield in this life or a previous life, maybe they carried high feminine energy, despite being a masculine-bodied person. God, this was a lot. This particular reading. I did not expect it to go that way. But maybe that means something to you guys. If that meant nothing to you, don't worry about it. Your spiritual body is possibly focused on something else, or maybe just like small fragments of what we just discussed. But I hope that made sense. It made sense to me, and again, I make sense to myself all the time, usually, but can't speak for how I come across to others. Anyway, there, it's stacked. All right, so we're done with that deck. We're going to change decks now. We're going to talk about the central focus of your life purpose at this time, your life purpose, your spiritual purpose. Why are you here on Earth, Aries? Maybe you know that, the answer to that question. That's good. And actually, I shouldn't even ask it because it's not what we're asking. But we want to get some insight into what the central focus of your life and or spiritual purpose is. You might be very aware of what that purpose is. You might be curious about it. Maybe you've never conceived of it, but the central focus might tap you into some information that you need to know that could be helpful and help guide you, help give you clarity, stuff like that, okay? And, I love this deck, but man, is it hard to shuffle. So I just want to warm it up a little bit for Aries and their life/spiritual purpose. Yeah, they're good. Okay. So let's see what the central focus is, and then we'll take some messages from the warmed up tarot deck. All right. central focus of your life, of your life's purpose or your spiritual purpose is mature man, aka Ian McKellen's, doppelganger. Card number 5. Again, we had a 5 up there with 14. So 7s and 5s again. And 7 is a highly spiritual number. And 5s are about changes and challenges, transformations. So, Now, for some of you, straight up, and this is not going to apply possibly to the majority of you people who are watching because, well, at least my analytics say this. Maybe there's a lot of male Aries that watch me. But some of you, if your gender is male, part of your life's purpose is to become what can be deemed a mature man. Whatever you believe that is, how that would be portrayed, what the value of that is, I don't know. Others of you, if you're not gendered male, there could be a mature man of significance who serves as an informant. That's not the right word. Someone who guides you, someone who teaches you, like could have been a teacher, a professor, an advisor who's important. Like for many of you, this is an actual physical person and they're very significant to you. Friend, family member, again, someone that you were taught by, who you worked with, who you were, maybe you're like, like you were their apprentice or something. I don't know. But some of you, this is like a physical person and that person is very integral to your life purpose and your path. And they guide you now, or they have guided you thus far, is kind of what this feels like. For some of you, this person has passed away, possibly recently, but for many of you, they passed away a long time ago. And you can rest assured, is how they want me to say it. You can rest assured that they continue to guide you, even if they're not with you physically. For others, this person is with you physically. They're making me feel like they're teaching you lessons. And you might not like that. Some of you don't really like this person being your quote unquote teacher. They don't have to be literally someone who taught you in school. They could be, again, this is your life path, your spiritual path. They could be, a guide in that way or a teacher in that way. Gosh, anything else? In most cases, this person will be older than you, for sure. In a few cases, they're about your age, but in most cases, they are going to be older than you. I wouldn't bet that this person would be that much younger than you if it's not that they are so much older than you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right. What else can you tell me about mature man in terms of being the central focus of Aries' spiritual life purpose at this time? Why did the mature man show up as the anchor card, the focal card for them? Show me. Okay. Magician, Innocence of Wands. Okay. Some of you, this is like, oh gosh, Emperor. Well, ask and ye shall receive, kind of. Okay. So, Magician, secondary major for Virgo, as well as Gemini. Could be dealing, you don't have to be. Innocence of Wands, aka the Page of Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And Skyfather, aka the Emperor, your major arcana card, Aries. And now I'm just like low-key reminded that Skyfather, Emperor, is again that archetype in terms of the tarot of the divine masculine. And that's you. And who are we talking about 10, 15 minutes ago? Heavily, the Empress. So you're not your opposite, but your pairing, your partner in crime, so to speak, or your partner in the cosmos, so to speak, Aries. So, oh boy. Now, again, there's like maybe one or two of you Aries that, I mean, maybe again, there's like a good portion of male Aries that watch me. I doubt it, because overall, most men don't watch tarot. But if you are a male Aries, gendered male specifically, this could be a story about your father or your grandfather being an integral part of your life purpose, your life journey, your life path, or your spiritual path. Yes. And there might be some bittersweetness in there. I feel like maybe some of you had a father, and I don't mean to say it in past tense because this person could still very much be alive. And again, all of this doesn't have to be specifically for males, so females, go ahead and still tune yourselves into this part. But some of you may have had a father who became your dad when he was very young. Page of Wands. And they don't have to be a fire sign. And a lot of lessons, a lot of hard lessons being a young parent, I would assume. I am not a parent at all, and I assume the lessons come a lot sharper, or at least they can be more volatile or more impactful the younger you are. Possibly. You know, I'm an outsider in this argument or in this discussion, so I can't really say. But that could have been like a really, I gotta be honest. Some of you had a dad who, or have a father or someone in your life of significance. It could be a grandfather, an older brother, an uncle, or someone, again, who's just older in masculine energy. They don't have to be gendered male specifically, but in many of your cases, they are. And I gotta be honest. They could have had you, or could have, you know, started in on a family if it's your grandfather when they were super young, and for lack of a better word, they regret it. They regret it. Like, I feel someone here was thrust into mature energy before they were mature. They were expected, or the choices they made kind of put them on the path to do this, or to be expected to do this. Does that make sense? The Magician is about choice, but the Magician is also about, you know, poor choice or manipulation sometimes. You know, you have you have the tools at your disposal to create whatever you want. So, you know, to be perfectly frank, some of your dads or your grandfathers or whoever in your family, you know, they had the tool, the literal physical tool in their pants to do whatever they want with. And between them and whoever your mother is, or whoever the woman who ends up pregnant is, the choice became, okay, well, we're having a baby. Now, again, that's simplistic, and it's not meant to insult anybody. But literally, you didn't have to do the do. But Magician, again, can be also arrogant energy or misguided energy. You know, mercurial, often in not as effective vibrational energy, okay, can be very misled, can jump the gun with the little bit of information that they have. It's like reading 4 out of 15 chapters in a book and saying, okay, I know how this ends. No, you really don't. You only read like about a quarter of that book, or a third of the book, I should say. You really should continue to read the entire book before you think you know how the story ends. But it's like, it can be sort of, you know, presumptive. Oh, I know how this is going to end up. I know that this is going to be okay. So long and the short of it is, some of you come from families, fathers, grandfathers, maybe even mothers, because again, it can be a female who carries masculine energy, but you come from people who acted first and thought about it later in terms of parental, you know, coming into the parental status. So you could have a father or a mother who's had you when they were 15, 16, 17 years old. Hell, could have had you at 24 years old, but still wasn't ready for it. Does that make sense? Now, that's not the innate understanding of the Emperor by itself, but in this combination, it's like Was that all fluff and no filler, or all bite, no filler, or something like that? I forget what the phrasing is. But what I'm sensing here is the mature man in your life, the man who's teaching you lessons. And mature, and if I wasn't clear before, it doesn't have to be they're actually mature in terms of their behavior, in terms of their development. They could be mature simply because they are physically older. They might show a gray beard or and mustache situation. They could be in their 50s, 60s, 70s, but still carry page energy, innocence of wands. This person teaches you a lesson. They are part of your life path. They are part of your purpose on this life. I feel many of you, as this is the Magician and the Emperor, that combination is I can create whatever I want. So that similar energy of how I mentioned before, having the tool in the pants and, jumping the gun. Oh, I know how the story's going to end. It's all going to work out. I can have, hot underage sex with my girlfriend and it's not going to end up in a problem. And then 3 kids later, you're like, oh shit, But that same energy of I can create what I want might exist within you, Aries, and you can therefore create a different story. So again, this could be someone who's teaching you in sort of a roundabout way what not to do, what not to be, how not to conduct yourself, how not to perform as a parent, how not to perform as a man, how not to perform within your masculine energy. Going back over here. High honor. Abandonment issue surrounding the feminine energy. In some of your cases, maybe your father abandoned you and your mother and your brother and sister or whoever else. And maybe they're not even physically in your life. They could physically exist on this earth, but maybe you're estranged. Maybe you don't talk to this person, but they still are here as a part of your purpose to wake you up, to make you wiser in how to proceed forward and not create further generational woundings. If you, your brother, your sister, your cousins, or whoever else in the family felt like this person is a piece of work, they're absolutely not worth, the time of day or anything like that, that is a part of the lesson. As frustrated as it might make you feel, as abandoned as other people might feel, or you might feel, as hurt and sort of disenchanted as you might feel. And, for some of you, this is, regardless of your gender, this is daddy issues, or this is, I shouldn't say that. This is centered around distrusting masculine, period. You could be a man and still distrust masculine. It's not just for females, right? And your purpose is to rectify that distrust, to honor it. Both sides have to honor each other. I was talking about that up here in the spirituality pile. So as much as the divine feminine energy in your life or in yourself or in your family dynamics feels hurt, abandoned, and they got to be tough and they got to take care of themselves and protect themselves because obviously the men won't do it. There's something to be rectified with the masculine energy. The masculine energy needs to I feel there's something about this. You know what this is? Okay. It's like hurt people hurt. Hurt people hurt people, right? Isn't that the phrase? Hurt people hurt people. So I feel that there's a wounding here and over here, and both sides need to talk to each other. Messages. Both sides need to talk to each other. So it's deep. It's very deep. It's deeper than I intended, this reading for your birthday season. I just want to see the messages. So my intention is, what does Aries need to know? What does any sign need to know when I do these readings for you guys? And so this is what you guys need to know. It's deeper than I expected. So maybe I should, not what I intended, but what I expected. So let's see what the central focus of any soul tie relationships that you have. Any soul tie relationships, meaning soulmate, karmic partners, twin flames, soul family, whatever you perceive of, whatever is important to you or whoever is important to you, whoever that person is or people are, what is the central focus of those relationships? Courthouse, another 5, get out of here. Get out. Okay, so sevens and fives, that means something to you guys. Now, maybe that could also be, that could be 1975. That could be 7/5, July 5th. That could also be 5/7, May 7th. Maybe some of those dates mean something to you. They want me to express that. Dates with those numbers 7/5 might mean something to you. Some of you might be born on the 7th or the 5th of April. I don't know. But anyway, courthouse. For some of you, this is like seeking guardianship, stewardship, something like that. You want custody in some cases. There hasn't been much about like children right now. I feel like most of what I've talked about today, Aries, for your reading has been when you were a child. But I did just mention just a moment ago, generational wounding. So maybe that is what you're trying to prevent with this courthouse goings on. Maybe I don't know, maybe there's a story in some of your lives where you don't want to go to court, or you want to go to court so that you can prevent something like a pattern from continuing, something like that. But that's, again, not even for the majority of you, might just be for one or two of you. Courthouse, anything else? Some of you might be going to school, law school, might practice law or be interested in law. Also, some of you, again, going back to messaging, which we talked about in the second and the first position, some of you could be going over court documents, possibly relating to your record, or I shouldn't say court, but maybe still official documents relating to your military service or the military service of someone that you know that's important to you. Okay. And again, this is sort of central to your soul ties with a particular person. Okay. So let's get some more information on this for Aries. Why is courthouse the central focus of their soul tie relationship or relationships at this time? Let's clarify that, please. Last one. Thank you. Why is this card the central focus of Aries soul tie with a person or other people? Mother of Earth. More people. You got a lot of people in your reading. Eesh. Seven of Pentacles. Failure. Okay. And Ace of Water. Okay. Now, Mother of Earth. Oh, let me show you all the cards. But Mother of Earth, Queen of Pentacles in other decks. Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Could be dealing, you don't have to be. Seven of Pentacles in, not in reverse, but just Seven of Pentacles. And then the Ace of Water, aka Ace of Cups. For some of you, you're looking over family documents within a courthouse. Maybe literally in your town, in your county, like genealogy reports are kept at the local courthouse instead of the local library. I don't know. But there is some exploration in some of your cases of documents, messages, again, like we were talking up here, that is pertaining to a Queen of Pentacles character in your life who is significant to you. Seven of Pentacles is so strange because in this deck it's called failure, but I don't view it as failure. I think you're studying the history of your life or your family's life, your genealogy. You're trying to understand something, gain clarity on something. In some of your cases, going back to this idea of stewardship or, what did I say? What was the word? Stewardship? What was that word? Custody? There was another word. Anyway, some of you are studying documents or trying to get history on a person, perhaps a specific person. Now in this deck, she's a very, an elderly woman, the Mother of Earth, but I'm not sensing that we're most likely, well, not most likely. In some of your cases, the person isn't that old, but you could be studying the history of someone, trying to understand their background. Possibly some of you are looking at their taxes, Seven of Pentacles, their finances, or maybe this is happening to you. Maybe the courts are doing this on your behalf, or a lawyer or a judge or something. I don't know. I don't know who works in the courts other than judges and stenographers and lawyers or whatever. But there could be someone unbeknownst to you, Aries, who's doing this studying. It feels like maybe for some of you, you could have had someone in your, maybe you didn't know this. Maybe that's a message of concern, going back to the second position, or just a message period in the first position. You might receive news about a relative that you don't know, or someone that you have some type of tie with legally. Or again, genealogy for some of you. You don't know that they're your relative, but they are. And there's some financial hitch in there or concern in there. Very strange. It's highly dramatic, but it's like a hush money situation. Someone may have been paid off or given money to do something or not do something. And the reason they agreed or the reason was it was emotionally based, an emotional decision or an emotional plea. Like, it's highly dramatic, Aries. And I dare say I'm not calling anyone's story, but if I was, that'd be crazy. What I'm sensing is maybe someone was paid to leave, like, leave my family alone, leave my son, my daughter alone, something like that. And I don't know how a court would have that document or that information. Maybe, and again, it's like based on a person. So actually, well, it's not based on a person, because I do allow that this could be more than one person. So if you have a soul connection with a person, it could be a friend of yours or your husband or your wife who's going through this. Someone is finding out who you're connected to on a soul level, Aries. You or someone that you're close with is finding out someone was possibly paid to, like, take a hike. Hush money. Like, crazy stuff like this happens, but we don't hear about it every day, but it does happen, like, literally, like, and I don't want to say paid, because maybe it's not about paid, but it is about resources provided. It feels like a situation. Could be the release of sealed documents. Message of concern. Someone trying to block messages coming through. Could be court documents that were sealed are unsealed, and that's how this story comes out. Whatever the story is. But what's coming through is this feeling of, like, somebody told a partner, like a stay away from my daughter. Now that you've done this to her, got her pregnant, made her fall in love with you, abused my daughter, whatever, because we were talking about unhealed wounding between the masculine and the feminine dynamic, correct? So wherever the wounding happened, there's like an interference, or like someone who says, I'm going to put a squash on that, because Mother of Earth is protective energy, regardless of the sign, regardless of the gender. Protective energy, cultivating, nurturing energy. It is the earthbound version of the Empress. Okay? It's like, I will do anything and everything within my resources, Seven of Pentacles. I will invest in the protection of my family, of my daughter, of my son, whatever. And you, whoever the you is in this situation, Aries, you, your father, your cousin, your best friend, your wife, whoever is experiencing this, someone is being told, go away. You've harmed the situation, or you're a detriment to the situation. Leave, go away. And the impetus, the motivation is it's coming from a loving place that this person believes. This is... I said this before about the Empress. You've hurt this situation. You've hurt me. You've created enough trouble. Now I have to step in and become the aggressor. Because it's a slightly aggressive move to tell someone to beat it and possibly pay them off or pay their expenses, pay for their resources, something like that. Now, what I was getting was literally like someone who, and this happens, and it's kind of weird. But remember earlier I was talking about underage pregnancies, right? Whether it be right now or back in the 20th century, back in the 1970s, 1960s, 1980s, whenever it was. There have been many a story where a young girl falls pregnant. The parents of the girl say, you know what? We're going to help you raise that baby. Seven of Pentacles. We'll invest. We will invest in helping you raise this child and raise them healthfully. But that guy over there, your little boyfriend, your little love interest, your Romeo to your Juliet, he's got to go. And we will help you raise this child. But, and here's the kicker. This is what was coming through. You cannot tell the kid that you're the mother. It's too much of a scandal. Or, that it's highly dramatized. But some people have lived that journey. Now, Aries, I don't think I'm calling many of your stories. But it has that impact. And I said that before. Some of you might receive news that knocks the wind out of your sails. It does not have to be this, but this is the story that I am visualizing. This is what I'm seeing in my fucking head. Someone who thought they were the sister or the brother to this person who's like 15, 16 years older than them, that's actually your mom. What? What? What a revelation. And that might be that might come through, like maybe you work at the courts. Or like I said, some of you are studying law. Or you're studying your own genealogy. And you're on the computer, searching databases, trying to figure out some things. Maybe just casually, like you weren't even necessarily looking because you weren't suspicious. But you just happened to, look up stuff about your own family. Like, what? Adoption center? Who the hell in my family is adopted? It's me? It's like that. It's that crazy. That's what some of you are finding out. And that is... That's crazy. Because if you find out, or there's some story that's been spun in your family about adoption, you would be rocked to find out that your sister is your mother, and your mother might be your soulmate or your soul tie or whatever, or you have a soul, something. Listen, the long and the short of it is, it feels like for many of you, you're tied to a person who is a family member who is a soul tie to you. If not, this is a friend of yours that's experiencing this, or your spouse who's experiencing this, something like that. I don't know where to go, where else to go with this. So this is it. Aries, that is your reading for this birthday season. What a pickle this was. If you like this reading, if it resonated with you, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. If you want to get at me for a personal reading, just check the description box below. I didn't say that at the beginning, but if you're a returning viewer, you already knew that there was a timestamp down there. My bad. Anyway, Aries, for this particular reading, I'll see you again in 2022. But since your birthday season just started, we have your April readings to look forward to. Also have your mid-March. Check your playlist if you missed that one. And again, I'm going to check the calendar here. I'm pretty sure it's the 10th. Let me go to, yep. So on April 10th, which is a Saturday, here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the channel, or in my life, not on the channel, but 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'll go live for you guys here on the channel. I'll read for you guys some tarot questions. If you show up in the chat and you talk to me, you let me know what you want me to ask the tarot, I'll certainly be more than happy to interpret them for you, okay? So, Aries, I thank you guys so much for watching this video. Take care.